I was talking to Brad over the break, and we was talking about liability. And so we was talking about what's a good definition of liability. And Brad was telling me, he's like, liability is the ability to tell a lie and everybody believes it. And I'm like, well, Brad, I don't really know if that is the definition of liability or not. It is. So we may be a little misconstrued on exactly what is liability. So for those of you that think liability is the ability to tell the lie and have everybody believe it, that's not where we're at. So I do want to talk about liability in terms of where we're at. So how many people know what liability really is? All right. What is it? What is liability?
What you have to pay if you mess up.
That's about as good a definition as I've heard. It falls back on you. It says, what do you have to pay if you mess up? That's a very good definition. That's a common sense definition. The state of being responsible, it's what you got to pay if you mess up. I like that. That's good what it means. This always makes everybody's hair stand up a little bit. Flaggers, what if I told you that as a flagger, you may be held responsible? You, as a flagger, may be held responsible for accidents that recur as a result of your negligence. How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel?
Make you don't want to fly.
Yeah, right. Crap, I wish I'd never come to this class. That means like, I'm done. Don't give me my card. I'm not flagging. I'm done. All right. It does. It makes you feel a little weird, right? Right? It's okay. It's all right. Here's how can we avoid that? How can you avoid? What's the key word in this? What's the key? Negligence. Absolutely. Negligence. How can you avoid being? If there's a common sense definition for liability, what was it again?
What you got to pay if you mess up.
What you got to pay if you mess up. All right. So what you got to pay if you mess up. So if you're what's the common sense definition for negligence?
Something you mess up.
Something you mess up, right? So how can we keep from messing up?
Follow policy, procedures, and guidelines.
I love this class. I need to write this. You guys writing this down? This is good stuff. Don't mess up. Right? Follow policies and procedures. What's one thing that we're doing right now?
Policy and procedures.
Policies and procedures. What's one thing we're doing right? We're going to class, right? Right? We're learning what to know, right? That's one good thing we're doing right. When you get out of here, you're going to say, hey, I can fill this card out when we get done. We got this sheet. We're learning. So you're like, oh, wait a second. The hair's standing up on the back of my neck. So maybe I do need to walk out of here today with some things locked in up here or some things I need to know. Or at least know if you walk out of here today. Here's some things. I want to kind of put you at ease. If you walk out of here today and don't remember everything that we talk about, it's okay. Hey, look, I'm 44 years old. I'm in a protected class. So nobody, if you've been in a respectful workplace, I'm protected class. But I realize the older I get, I don't remember stuff like I used to. So if you walk out of here today and if you don't flag for the next 2 weeks, and you're out there and your supervisor comes and he says, lumberyard, you're going to be flagging tomorrow. You're like, I don't remember what that distance is. I don't remember what signs. I'm going to give you some resources that you can go to. I'm going to give you some resources you can go to. Remember what signs, you can remember the spacing, you can remember all these things. You can remember the things where you need to go. So that's some things. So we're going to get some resources today. That's important. So you don't have to walk out of here and be an expert, but you'll know where to go to get the information. That is important. To me, that's important because I don't remember everything. This class today, you know where I spent most of my time yesterday? Getting ready for this class today, because it's very important that y'all get the right information. None of us are all experts on everything. We need to remember some things, and that's important. But it's important to know where to go to get the information. That is critically important. So, steps to minimize liability. Steps to minimize to minimize getting in trouble. Follow the MUTCD. We talked about that. Follow that. That's our guidebook on getting different things. Train all personnel. That's why we're here. We're getting the training, right? We're getting that part done. Make sure the work zone is set up properly. It's one thing. I'll take this one. It is one thing to be in a work zone and be standing here in a flagging operation. Of course, technically, I know I should be standing this way, but I'm going to stand this way. But if I'm in a work zone and I'm standing here and a car comes through, and instead of being in my spot where I'm supposed to be, how many of y'all have ever came into a work zone and somebody's sitting over here either off to the side, they're on their phone over here. Yeah, come up there. Come on, you're good. Yeah, on their phone doing this number. How many of you ever seen something like that? We've seen that, right? Or over here, like, hey, this is pretty interesting stuff going on over here. Bulldozer going on. Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to be over here doing this stuff. Or they get to the job that day. They get to the job that day, and everything's kind of in a hurry. The supervisor and we forgot that morning. We forgot to get our signs, and we left the shop, and dadgummit, I know we're going to be flagging for 2 or 3 hours today, but I didn't get all my proper signs. I only got one of the signs, and the other 2 signs are still at the shop, and it's another hour back to the shop and another hour back here, and we'll be okay. We'll just put that one sign up, or actually, instead of putting the sign up, we'll just pull the truck. We'll just pull the truck up here, and we'll block the lane with the truck, and we'll be okay, right? We'll just do that, and we'll take care of it like that. So in situations like that, then a car just magically out of somewhere, the car comes through and blows through and comes through our cones and hits somebody, and either, hopefully, none of our folks are injured, but somebody in the car is injured, and they sustain some kind of injury. And guess what happens? Guess what happens? We go to court, right? And guess where you get to go? Guess what happens? At that point, you are on the witness stand. You're on the witness stand, and you're sitting here. You're like this. And the judge says, Mr. Manning, what were you doing on September the 7th of 2017? I was flagging. Did you have all your proper signs up? Well, Judge, it's kind of like this. We were at the shop, and it was an hour to the job, and we had one of our signs. We had one of our signs out, and it was good. It was clean. It was one of the signs. I know it was one sign we needed, but we didn't have time. It was an hour back to the shop, and we were only going to be flagging for like an hour anyway. So by the time we got to the shop and got back, we pulled the truck out there. So I think we were okay, right? Well, Mr. Manning, what about the MUT CD? Do you know that there are standards and guidelines? Yeah. Well, Mr. Manning, have you been to flagging class? Well, actually, I teach the class, so do you know about those guidelines? Let me tell you this. I've sat right here. The attorneys that stand right here will cut you no slack. They will cut you no slack. There will be no excuses when you're sitting right here. They don't care how far it is to the shop. They don't care how much you make a year. They don't care about your family. They don't care about anything about you right there. I can assure you that. We had an attorney that worked on a case. I thought we were friends. It was a big, very high profile case, and I got to represent TDOT. This is a very, very eye-opening moment for me in my career with TDOT. I got to represent TDOT, and I had my chest stuck in. I was like, I'm TDOT, because I got to set. It was the Attorney General for TDOT. I mean, the Attorney General, and I was TDOT, and so I was our attorney, and I was TDOT, and it was their attorney, and then the main contractor was there, and so every time they deposed somebody, I was there, and so I got to hear all this information, and they don't. Contractors don't hire cheap attorneys. And this was a high roller contractor, and so they don't hire cheap attorneys. They hired the guy from out of Atlanta, and and I didn't know this, but I don't know if you know this, but attorneys are friendly with each other. I thought they hate each other. I thought our attorney would hate their attorney, and they hate each other and get along. So when I went into this situation, it was kind of weird because our attorney got along with their attorney. So I thought we were all friends. And so I'm like, hey, I'm TDOT. I'm kind of important, and we're getting along and all this stuff. And so the day came when I got deposed. And so I'm like, this is going to be great. He's going to take it easy on me because we're all friends, right? And so when we sat down at the table to be deposed, he swore me in. And that's where it all stopped. That's where our friendship ended. And he lit into me, and it was ugly. I mean, because they asked you the same question, and about 3 hours later, about 3 hours later, I was exhausted, and we got done. And he stepped up, and I mean, this had been going on for weeks and weeks, and I had developed a rapport with this guy. And we got done, and he said, "Mr. Manning, I'm sorry." I said, "Let me tell you one thing." I said, "We ain't friends." I said, "Don't talk to me." I said, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I said, "If you can't treat me no better than that." He said, "Sir, it's just my job." I said, "Your job sucks." I said, "We're not friends." I said, "We're done." He said, "That's just what I do." I said, "You might be good at it, but I said, you suck." I said, "We're not friends." So don't think that they're going to be your friend when you get there. So I say that to tell you, when you get to here, they're not going to be your friend, especially on the witness stand. So when you get here, how can we minimize that? It's a whole different ball game when you're sitting here and you've not done your job, as opposed to when you get here, when you're sitting here and says, "Well, Judge, that morning, we checked, all of our signs were out. We had all 3 signs out. We had the signs that were required by the MUTCD. Judge, I was standing in the correct location. I actually had I remember exactly where the car was at. And Judge, at best of my recollection, the driver was looking down on her phone when she came through. I blared the air horn, tried to get her attention, and she continued on through anyway." So when the judge goes through, if there's an accident on one of our projects, who's one of the first people that you're going to call? You call me. We're going to call your supervisor and make sure everybody's okay, number one. That's the first thing. But what's one of the things after you call me, what am I going to tell you to do? Take pictures. You're going to document everything we have out. And you're going to document the fact that you got all the right signs out, right? Because you're going to have all the right signs out, right? And when you don't have all the right signs out, what's going to happen?
True.
I'm going to jump your ass because you're supposed to have all the right signs out, right? Because what happens if you don't have all the right signs out? And when something happens and somebody's up here on the witness stand, you don't have a leg to stand on. You don't have a leg to stand on. But when we do have everything right as best as we can, that minimizes our liability. It's not about just standing, it's not about sitting just right here, but it's about safety. And that's why these things are important. Because if we have the signs out, and we're doing everything right, that means that person has drove through at least 3 different signs and still got it wrong. They drove through 3 signs, a minimum of 3 signs, and drove by us doing our job right, and drove by us and drove through a buffer zone and all the things that we've done everything within our power to get it right. So when that judge says, "Ma'am, you're an idiot. You drove through all these different things and you still got it wrong, and TDOT, you did your best to get it right." It's a whole different scenario. So that's a whole different ball game sitting here being liable than saying, "Hey, we did our best." Your best ain't good enough. Do it right. That's where you're at. Judges don't care and attorneys don't care if you're just saying, "Well, hey, we put some signs out." You don't want to be there. Trust me, you don't want to be there. Does that make sense? That's how we minimize liability. That's how you minimize liability. We don't want to pay because we didn't do it right? That's the common sense approach. So we don't be sitting here, and if you do sit here, if we did it right, did our signs right, if your supervisor comes to you and says, "Hey, we only got the 1 sign for that day, go ahead and go out there and flag anyway," you call me and say, "Hey, they're making me flag with just 1 sign." You call me and we'll fix it. I'll fix it. Does everybody get that? You understand that? Because we ain't flagging with 1 sign out there. Because what happens when somebody gets hurt? We don't have a leg to stand on. And somebody gets hurt, and then that's just a bad scenario for everybody. All right. I'm on your team.